Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and more Birthright here as we wrap up the Northland section. Today we're taking a look at the tribes, which actually has quite a few compared to the first section with the Tailshore. So let's just jump right in, and this is another one of those fun things that presents a little something different than the core and weir part of the setting, where not only do you have the political domains, but really if you wanted to and kind of have a hybrid of running a realm, but more so here this tribe, you have this available to you as well. So the way they present it here, so the first tribe is the Eagles Guard. They are in Hoganmark. Winter province is Valkheim. Summer province Njorldar. Chief here, and again, just so many of these insane, like high-level characters to be found in some of these expansions. So here, the Chief Gunner is a level 15 fighter, pretty solid bloodline. So, and again, this super high level here. His tough, war-loving tribe inhabits eastern Hoganmark and is often on the front line of conflicts with the White Witch or the Bloodskull Raiders. Noted for the quality of their weapons and the skill of their warriors, the Eagles Guard also boast highly skilled bards and artisans who are among the best in Hoganmark but are barely recognized outside the tribe. Chief Gunner is an old and powerful fighter who is revered as the virtual father of his tribe even after losing an eye to an Orog raider. Gunner remains a relentless warrior and a wise leader, though he is prone to be impulsive and engage in outbursts of temper. The Eagles Guard are less suspicious of outsiders than other tribes and have few qualms about the rulership of Freyla, Queen of Hoganmark, who respects them and asks only token tribute. Her warriors are often sent east to aid the Eagles Guard in defending themselves against the Witch and the Bloodskulls. So, pretty cool tribe here, and one of the more friendly ones in relatively friendly, as it mentions here, but currently led by a super high level fighter. So it could be a fun tribe to sort of come up in and then adventure in the realm and things like that, and kind of shift the campaign. But this offers other cool, unique starting points than your typical campaign as well with these tribes. Then we move on to Ulthrugard, Kingdom in Yankaping. So winter province is Rüftefell, and then summer is Draska. Here another pretty high level fighter, Ulthar, level 10. No bloodline though. The Ulthrugard are recognized as a hazard of travel in Yankaping for their notoriously suspicious of strangers. Travels in their region are often stopped. Travelers taken into custody by tribal warriors, intensely questioned, then relieved of valuables as tolls or taxes, a trick that Chief Ulthar learned from the regions of Yankaping. Though many consider them bandits, they are merely traditional nomads who spend the cold months in the sheltering forests of Rüftefell and move to Draska as the weather warms. Their hunters are expert trackers and survivalists and are often hired as scouts by King Alnor. Their valuable contribution to the Yankaping military has made the feeble Alnor turn a blind eye to their occasional brigandage, but some believe that Ulthar will eventually grow overconfident and actually prey on official representatives of the kingdom. Such a situation may spur Alnor to take action despite his weak-willed nature. So a potential source of conflict there, which we've covered briefly when we looked at Yankaping, but another just interesting tribe here where there's that fine line between what they're doing and as it being like outright thieves basically. Yarnkaspel, also in Hoganmark. They are in Bjarkheim and then Fjoltir. Another high-level fighter here, Axel Tjalhan, level 11 fighter, small bloodline, lawful good, actually. They are highly insular, ascetic devotees of Eric. They inhabit the deep forests of Hoganmark and shun the company of outsiders. Some claim that traces of elven blood flow in their veins, the result of an ancient alliance or association between the tribe and the elves of Luabright. Given the elves' fanatical hatred of humans, however, many believe that's unlikely. They are a strange group, seemingly midway between human and elven cultures. They do obey Eric's edicts to safeguard nature and never take needlessly, even to the point of endangering their own tribe with starvation or exposure. In the wilderness, the presence of this tribe is barely noticeable, so careful are they to conceal themselves from visiting strangers. They don't hate outsiders, but simply prefer to avoid them. They will not hesitate to aid travelers in need. The starving, wounded, and dying are brought to their camps and tended or fed. They ask only that individuals so privileged never reveal the locations of their camps. So far, all of their guests seem to have respected the tribe's wishes. So an interesting one here, more on the good side of things, just insular and trying to stay hidden from the outside, basically. Then we move on to the Gautraka, Hoganmark as well, Aldred and Njorldar for the provinces, Another high-level character here, level 12 Ranger. No bloodline on that, but Najlar, Najlar. They represent one of the most hardy and enduring of the Rurik tribes. These northerners dwell along the broken icy reaches of the Thalassian Sea, inhabiting the wind-ravaged wilderness of Roikenskapa in extreme northern Hoganmark. They make their living in the spring and summer by putting to sea in small hide boats and hunting seals, walruses, and narwhals, and even small whales. They sometimes prey on the large whales that migrate through the region, but they are always careful to use all parts of any animal they take. Brave, stoic, and quiet, they endure the rigors of northern life without complaint. They're known to be insular, though their code of honor demands that they share shelter and food with any who need it. Several unusual taboos govern their daily life. They may never smile at outsiders. Unmarried men and women may speak to each other only during meals, and no food may be consumed between the first light of dawn and the time the sun fully clears the horizon. These rules are sometimes confusing to outsiders who risk offending them if they don't follow them. During the coldest part of winter, they retire to the interior highlands where they construct ice shelters and live on food they gathered in the summer. Their bards are busy and appreciated during this time, for songs and stories are the only entertainment available during the winter, which can last more than half the year. Druids are always welcome in their camps regardless of their origin, for even these wilderness-toughened priests rarely venture so far north. A few traders also deal with them, trading metal implements, harpoons, clothing, and foodstuffs for whale oil, carved walrus tusks, handcrafts, and other products. So again, pretty decent little artwork here. So you can kind of, certainly see their sort of Viking-ish influence that they were probably going with when they were kind of constructing or figuring out this group of peoples. Easy enough to capture in miniature form, certainly, but another interesting tribe. We move on then. There's the Trigvar, which are actually in the realm of the White Witch. Everything is more or less unknown, but their chief, again, another insanely high-level fighter here, Darvjal, level 13, lawful evil, tainted bloodline. So these are more nasty customers here, so probably not one that you'd be wanting to adventure as part of. A truly barbaric tribe with no interest in the outside world. They inhabit the deep forests in the southern reaches of the witch's domain, something that your characters, your party, though, would want to be well aware of them, or have some nasty encounters with them and come to know them, should you be adventuring around here. So, though tough, resourceful, and independent, they cooperate with the White Witch because it suits them and their chief, the grim Darvjal Tree Cutter. All of these warriors serve one-year terms in the White Witch's personal guard. At the end of their service, they come home loaded with gold, furs, weapons, food, and other necessities, further cementing the bond between the witch and the tribe. The Trigvar admire little other than skill in hunting and battle, and spend so much of their time in contests of arms or on massive hunting expeditions that involve the entire tribe. When called upon by the witch or by Darvjal to fight invaders from the Bloodskull Barony, or even the Giant Downs, the tribe reacts with howling bloodlust. Unfortunately for Hoganmark and the Lullabright elves, Trigvar display similar enthusiasm on their raids into those lands too. Now those raids are a little bit more uncommon, orchestrated only when the tribe is in dire need, which, this need may apply to supplies or just simply excitement. The White Witch is known to discourage such conduct since it reflects badly on her and sometimes frustrates her plans to rule and control in secrecy. She usually ends up disavowing any knowledge or responsibility of them, despite the fact that the Trigvar themselves do proudly proclaim themselves as her elite forces. So, fun stuff, but yeah, more of a nasty folk to encounter should we again be adventuring around there. Or even just if we're playing at the domain level, and that could be just a nasty recurring foe to deal with. The Frigval, Yankaping, and then the provinces Harlskang and Yurva. Another pretty high-level character here. The chief is Ryanka, ranger of level 9, little bloodline there, neutral good. The most populous and important tribe in Yankaping. They boast nearly 600 members and occupy extensive, semi-permanent winter quarters in the realm's eastern forests. Chiefess Ryanka is an influential friend of the Jarls Bjark and Olam, who are leading dissidents wishing to break from the city-based influence of King Alnor. The Frigval make a great deal of their independence and reliance on traditional ways, but despite this have come to depend more upon the trade with renegade Jarls for basic sustenance. Though they still trek to traditional hunting and fishing lands in Yurva each spring, fewer and fewer of the tribesfolk actually engage in such pursuits, preferring to spend the summer haggling and trading for foodstuffs, clothing, and weapons with both the rebel Jarls and foreign traders who appear in the region with increasing frequency. Unknown to most of the tribesfolk, Rianka has come under the influence of the White Witch through her agents. These agents act as traders and subtly urge the chiefess to increase both her distance from the king and the tribe's reliance on outside trade for travel. So, again, could be an interesting one where you maybe are adventuring as part of the tribe growing up and just kind of coming to see some of these differences, maybe come to suspect that some of these people are in fact agents of the White Witch, which again could cause some conflicts there, especially if that gets exposed. But also, again, if you're adventuring as part of Yankaping and look to start uncovering where the White Witch is really spreading her influence and investigating the dissidence of these two rebel jarls, this would be an interesting one to come into contact with that tribe and again see how things are going with them. The last one here is the Halskorek, Hoganmark and Realm of the White Witch. They go between Bjarkheim and Kandalsk. Another high-level fighter here, Sigmund, is the leader, currently level 13 fighter, another small bloodline, but again, just all these characters that are in the teens, especially just super powerful for the setting. You'd almost think if we could just round up the Rurik, all the high-level Rurik characters, get them under one goal and get them to cooperate, they could pretty much steamroll through a lot of some of the bad guys out there. But anyway, moving on. Caught in the territory between the White Witch and her traditional enemies, Chief Sigmund and the Halskrik maintain a delicate balance between the two. They manage to stay in the good graces of the Hogans in wintertime and are careful not to offend or anger the White Witch while hunting reindeer and musk ox in Kandalask in the summer. Their only major enemies are the Trigvar, so you have that, who sometimes raid their camps for food and slaves. The Halskrik are outstanding warriors themselves. The Trigvar rarely come away from such confrontations unscathed. Halskorik's friendship with a clan of forest giants in Hoganmark helps as well, for these fearsome beasts sometimes come to their Rurik friends' aid. Respect for tradition keeps the Halskorik coming back to Kandalask year after year. So another interesting one, especially, again, if you were adventuring as part of the tribe, having to deal with that, but also, maybe over time, gradually coming to learn a little bit more about really where the White Witch and is, as far as on what side of things she stands, and really what a bad influence she is, and just her nature. But also, easy opening conflict there is just dealing with the Trigvar and maybe being raided and surviving that sparks off a quest chain that gradually brings you into more conflicts, but again, seeing more of really what the White Witch is all about. So all kinds of fun stuff here with these tribes. Again, a different way of adventuring and approaching things. For Birthright here, plenty of options. There's 7 whole tribes mentioned in this section, right? So plenty of fertile ground here for the DM to flesh things out as well, whether you're actually adventuring as part of them, playing at the domain level, and just anything in between here. So lots of fertile ground here for these tribes and just really fleshing out what makes this part of the Birthright setting so unique. Let us know, guys, if you've played as part of any of these tribes, encountered them, how you've incorporated them. Happy to hear the stories there. If you want to see videos like this early as well, help support us on our Patreon. It definitely helps keep the channel going and helps us bring you some unique Birthright and D&D content as well. That'll be on there. Thanks so much for watching, and like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.